subject matter, and any sort of cultural or social changes seems to motivate me to, creative or keep painting. But artists, or just learning how to express yourself through artistic media is the way to learn how to see things clearly. I used to do abstract paintings, and then that phase lasted from junior high school, in Japan, through maybe after I graduated from university in Japan. Then it still kept on going until I finished my art school at Otis Art Institute in LA. And then, so I went through so many phases of art forms, but by the time when 1970 came, I was ready to look back my cultural root. One of the reasons that I wanted to use ukiyo-e style for my own work is that I wanted to sort of introduce ukiyo-e style in contemporary context. And so I felt like that could be my mission. The environment where I used to live, this was in LA, and people seems to be very much of open to the idea that ukiyo-e has such a uniqueness, and then also exquisite color, and that is the sort of I recognized it, and then I just wanted to even emphasize using that particular form. Actually, pop art, conceptually, I thought it sure made sense to me then, like 1970 or even earlier, just because I interpret this country's culture as a consumer-oriented culture. And then I looked around the art forms that artists were working with, and what made sense to me is a pop artist's consumer-oriented or merchandise-oriented approach seems to make real sense. Kunisada's work, each person has a personality, and that's what really fascinated me. And if I'm going to express social issues and cultural issues, and using figurative painting, and I thought I might like to follow his sort of tradition. And also I felt that the number of compositions he did really spurred a composition that it's just so powerful that I didn't find other artists could do. I like a lot of ghost image prints, and they are really magnificent. It's just so beautifully done, but still he could convey some sort of scary feeling. And that really is something that not many artists can do. Of course, the McDonald's hamburgers branch in Tokyo or Ginza Street became a big hit. And that sort of inspired me to start cultural clash theme painting. When I see people at the beach, I feel like these people are visiting from all over the world. And it's interesting for me to see this sort of a meeting place. And especially I kind of focus on Japanese visitors because, their walking style are so different from American or Western people, and then there's some mannerism that there's a distinctive difference, and on the surface. The attitude of Japanese people and American people, how American people are so freely they can express themselves without, worrying about anything. Whereas Japanese visitors seems to be very timid, and then that's not their own fault. That's the way culture educated themselves. So it's kind of interesting for me to see any cultural difference. And I think that Hanauma Bay series in this exhibition is, I guess it just reflects a part of my lifestyle in Hawaii. I think that could be the major part of reason that I wanted to work on that subject. I think the initial experience of meeting or encountering a Western people and Western person would be like, they were really big, well built. I would say like everyone you meet might remind them of Renaissance paintings or sculptures, and very voluptuous. Kunisada Eclipse seems to be one of the more humorous works in this exhibition. And then, since I love Kunisada, I sort of emailed, and then he said he'll come to visit Hawaii. And then so the story was he's visiting Hawaii as if he came out from his tomb, and then he saw a Western woman for the first time, and suddenly he forgot all about why he was there to visit Hanauma Bay. He was supposed to look at eclipse, and also he was interested in drawing fish in the ocean. But suddenly this American woman came out from the water and standing, and then he thought, oh wow, this is even more beautiful. That's his feeling. And then perhaps that could be my feeling if I was, a Kunisada. So I call it like a Kunisada eclipsed. Catfish is such a inscrutable fish, which can detect earthquake, or they can foresee something, anything sort of disastrous things coming, then they can detect. That's the way they used to believe. I depicted catfish like also fish which can envision something is coming soon. And as an artist, I like to see what's coming next. And for that sort of particular aspect really fascinates me. And then I also wanted to figure out what will be the cultural change which might be taking place today. Octopus, I would say, has that sensuous quality, and I look at octopus as a very erotic and then positive energy, and playful. And then later on, even in a fantasy, when a snorkeler and octopus is making love, they still have to consider using condoms, which indicate this particular time of history where we have to be very aware of AIDS epidemic. I think the theme of AIDS I had in mind, but I never had an actual visual visual sort of a vocabulary, how to say it. And my friend in New York who had her baby, and then her baby contracted AIDS. And I think that was my first encounter to someone who has AIDS. And from that point, I just wanted to say, like, okay, this mother with a child felt very isolated from her friends, perhaps from the society. Around 1986, everybody was so scared. And then that theme has been still going on, even more recent work. If doctors trying to sort of avoid, to take care of AIDS people, I'm referring to the early stage of AIDS plague. I felt like definitely there is a discrimination and a sexual preference discrimination, and there are many civil rights issues is involved, and plus in most kind of unsolved feeling would be like you fall in love with someone and make love to this person, and that wonderful happy time can turn out to be totally fatal, contracting AIDS. So we are really facing a very curious sort of a situation. The scale of my painting became very large just because the subject of AIDS seems to require something that it needs to be to express impact of the AIDS inundating, AIDS plague. And in order to express that intensity, I thought perhaps large format painting might be able to bring that kind of impact. Snakes in AIDS series, it means phallic symbol, and also it could mean that it might be venomous snakes, which might symbolize AIDS virus. In the AIDS paintings, AIDS theme series, I use woodblock print, ukiyo-e convention of sort of like a painting around the eyes, like blue tint or red tint, and that sort of indicates, for instance, if someone has blue tint around the eyes, perhaps he or she could be ghost or unhealthy person, and then if they have pink tint, they are healthy, and if they have a red tint, they are angry. And, that kind of symbolism, and I still, carry on that kind of convention to my present. More recent work too. The calligraphy that I use for my ukiyo-e style paintings is called like Edo style calligraphy, and then those types of writing were used for kabuki play, and then narrator used to narrate the story with singing, style. When I depicted a samurai and a geisha woman, they present Japanese people who are not really informed about AIDS, but my guess was they would have to learn about AIDS, or they would have to realize that AIDS plague is happening. When I depicted a woman in this London taxi, I mean, I felt like AIDS is no longer just one, place. It just spread all over the globe. I work, sometime on the floor, and also sometime on the wall. Yeah, I work several pieces at the time. So when I get tired or I get stuck on one painting and visually I don't know where to go, I said, okay, I'm going to take a break, but I move on to the next painting and then work on that. And if I get stuck there, then I'll go to the third one. So several paintings are going at the same time. The only way I could do was use raw canvas, and then I had to size with rabbit skin glue. I have to dip a canvas in a sort of bucket, perhaps maybe 30 times, scrubbing rabbit skin glue every coat, and then let it dry one day. So it's just a strenuous sort of aerobic kind of a process, I got a lot of muscle on my shoulders doing this and that. I mean, I had like a sailing, sort of like a system where I can pull the canvas and then dip the canvas and then pull it. And so I have to do this, with one arm. It was sort of silly, but I felt like I'm a sailor at some point. I think that the shift or the change in the subject matter or the stylistic change in my work started happening in 1990. As I look back, I worked with the theme of Japanese and American cultural clash theme almost 2 decades. And I said, I gotta really, really move on rather than staying with a lukewarm, wonderful, comfortable bath. I said, I am gonna jump out and see what would happen. And it was not really comfortable place to jump out because, if you're in a wonderful jacuzzi, you want to stay there for forever, perhaps. But I said, well, I got to be creative, and I'm serious about keep on evolving, and plus I realized that I haven't really said too much about American culture and the Western culture. I'm trying to see how Adam and Eve would see American culture if they descended from heaven today. And then also, this is the first time for me to even see American culture. If I could detach myself from this society and then came down from the heaven and then just walk into this country, I would go for computer culture, like internet and website, and then keyboard, a mouse, all this stuff. And it's fascinating for me. And once I get into this keyboard with a monitor, I realize that 3 hours goes by like nothing. But eventually I realize that my neck doesn't even move. and I said, it is a sort of thing that I would like to have, or if Adam and Eve is going through a same kind of experience, like using computer and internet, I wonder if they would like it, or what would be the advantage of having high technology like email and website, and all information is so available. And to me, this is real revolutionary cultural changes taking place. Also, when I think about Adam and Eve, their sexuality, their relationship, which was considered as a negative interpretation in this myth. That is not what I would like to even see. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when Adam and Eve had a wonderful relationship, I think they should be rewarded rather than punished. And so if the this myth about Adam and Eve is written much more positive way, I wonder how the world today has been like. So that's sort of like my quest or personal question about Western culture or interpretation of the myth. Yeah. Originally, I was inspired by watching whitewater investigation. Eventually, the whole composition evolved into much more general idea of invasion of privacy by media. Media has two faces. One face would be like, okay, presenting factual report, reporting facts, which is fine. And then other aspect is that they could exaggerate information, or they might have a false report. All they have to say, or that was mistake. They didn't even have to say it. They just said, well, this is, and it might not be totally factual. There's always something behind this wonderful, seductive aspect of it. And, I think the consumer-oriented culture, this is part of the whole a level that we have to always deal with. Media is like, it's TV monitors. And it's an unassuming form of some sort of institution that we take it for granted. And every day they even ask the viewers whether this subject or this issue is politically correct or not. And as if, this particular format of cultural information seems to remind me of Roman Empire, where they had a Colosseum, and then whether this person should be executed or not, you vote yes or you vote it down, and we are doing the same thing, and we are sort of being trained by this media, and if you're not careful, we might believe all this voting system that is correct. And that kind of aspect is intriguing and then sort of fascinating. But on the other hand, I think that our viewers has to be pretty, aware what could be the negative aspect of it. We have to deal with daily routines, and then also we have to deal with daily media routines. And this combination of information become our life today, it seems. So in a sense, we are dealing with virtual reality, and then reality, and then mixture of this is sort of a life today. It's quite chaotic to me. So, to me, it's very chaotic. When artists are supposed to be painting, the painting has to deal with some poetic statement which might not be able to be verbalized at all. One other aspect to me is important as an artist is that painting process is not only just painting itself, but it's a part of evolution as a human being. I think the overall view is that I have to bring out some sort of aesthetic coherence in the chaos. And that's probably the hope where I feel that some sort of resolution that people might be able to recognize that, okay, Masami seems to depict a lot of chaotic and complicated compositions. And somehow there is some positiveness about his work, which I'm hoping to achieve.